Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the presentation of colors and remain standing for the playing of our national anthem. As you were. Color guard, retire the colors. Our chaplain, Lieutenant Commander Matthew Ford, will now deliver the invocation.
Let us pray. Almighty God, it has now come to that moment where we could reflect these words from the great Motown Quartet. It's so hard to say goodbye. I'll take with me the memories to be my sunshine after all the atmospheric rivers. It's just so hard to say goodbye. Lord, as our graduates venture off to new adventures, may they remember their time in Monterey summarized with this one word: gratitude. Thanksgiving and appreciation to this premier academic institution, especially for the leadership and generosity of the faculty, and for the support of the MPS staff. Contentment and satisfaction that their time here was well spent in support of our ongoing critical mission. Responsibility and stewardship, because some of our students produced in mind and delivered in hand ideas and concepts never tested in time and space, which will save us one day, which will deter enemy aggression one day, which will promote life and liberty for us all one day. Not only do our graduates exude gratitude, we express gratitude to our graduates. God, I ask that you would bless each one of them, bestow bountiful blessings upon their families and loved ones. As we honor them and their achievement today, may you, Lord, be honored as well. Amen.
Please be seated. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Naval Postgraduate School Spring Quarter graduation. Sharing the stage with President Rondeau and Provost Gardner is our esteemed guest speaker, Mr. Gary Wipfler, from the Naval Postgraduate School Foundation Advisory Council, the chairs of our academic departments, and our local military leadership who have been deeply involved in the education of today's graduates. I would now like to introduce Dr. Scott Gardner, Provost of the United States, of the Naval Postgraduate School.
Good morning. Let's try that again. Good morning. All right, today's a happy day. We get to be loud, we get to be expressive. Let me start by expressing my congratulations to the Spring 2023 graduating class of the Naval Postgraduate School. These graduates have completed and earned a degree from unquestionably the best military graduate school in the world. But they have not achieved this outstanding accomplishment alone. There have been two teams of people in particular that have helped them. First are their family and friends. Graduates, please join me in thanking your family and friends for all the support, encouragement that they have provided you on your journey. The second team are the faculty, staff, military and civilian of the Naval Postgraduate School. I ask that all faculty and staff, military and civilian, please stand. That would be you all as well. All right. Thank you. One of the great parts of being a faculty member at Naval Postgraduate School is you get to teach and learn simultaneously. And so these two teams, the students and the faculty, really are one team working together to advance our knowledge. Students, graduates, a few quick words. Congratulations on your achievements. In doing so, you have done what I would call is leapt off a mountain. And to first leap off the mountain, you have to climb the mountain. So what does that mean? Well, to climb the mountain, you have to do a lot of hard things, things that maybe you haven't done before or things you weren't sure you could do. Sometimes those things aren't as visible or as observable as in other times in other situations where you climb mountains. Maybe you were a special operator and you had to go through Hell Week or something where you ran, swam, carried things in ways that you never thought you could, and in the middle of it, you weren't sure you could make it, and your determination, your teammates' determination helped you get through that. Clearly an accomplishment to make it through that, clearly achieving something you hadn't thought you could. You did the same here intellectually. It's a little less visible, but no less hard, in some cases maybe harder than what you accomplished physically to get here. You took math classes, statistics classes, language classes. In the middle of at least one, or in my case, many of those classes, you thought, no way, I can't do this anymore. I don't have what it takes. And yet you found the strength. Your teammates helped you find the strength to continue moving forward and accomplishing and finishing what at some point you thought you couldn't. That's climbing up the mountain. And for that, you're congratulated. But then you didn't just climb, you leapt. What does that mean? In our world, most everything is known or easily known very quickly. So think about how rare it is not to know something or be able to find something out in a minute or two. What's the population of Ukraine? Obviously critical to our understanding of global events right now. Oh, that would be 43 million people. What's the boiling point of lithium, an element critical for the batteries to make electric cars work? Well, that would be 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. I didn't know that. I looked it up on the Google, right? But for your scholasticism, you asked questions for which there was no known answer. You couldn't look it up on the Google or the Bing, whatever. You had to explore, study, research, work hard, and to do so you had to leap off the mountain and try to figure out a way to get that answer. In doing so, you transformed yourself from a knowledge consumer to a knowledge explorer. You navigated uncharted territory of knowledge and our understanding of how the world physically, behaviorally works. And you transformed uncertainty into innovation. This act, this transformation of uncertainty into innovation, is critical for you, for us, and for our nation's military and security. So in addition to the tremendous achievement that you did with your research and your education, you learned how to think in a way that will help you moving forward to be more impactful. And for this climbing and this leaping, I am very proud of you. Lastly, as we see in our graduation, there's lots of different types of diversity. There's intellectual diversity, experiential diversity. People come from different places, different backgrounds, or studying different things. One thing that's common is lots of friendships. I strongly encourage you to be deliberate in curating those friendships, to keep that network. That will be very helpful to you as you move forward, very helpful to your nation as you move forward, to cultivate those. Graduates, congratulations. We're all very, very proud of what you've accomplished. Encourage you to stay in touch and wish you all the very best. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to introduce the President of the Naval Postgraduate School, Vice Admiral Anne Rondeau, United States Navy, retired.
Good morning. It's great to have all of you here, and for the families and friends, and for those who are both here and online virtually, welcome to this event. This morning, the chaplain said the word gratitude. And so I want to start this off by saying thank you to all of you who are graduating today. We're grateful for your investment in yourselves, in your nations, in your services, and in mission. For the faculty, thank you. Words of gratitude for your extraordinary devotion and dedication to these great warrior scholars and these enablers of national prosperity, and for what you give every day of your own intellectual and leadership and encouragement and investment in our mission. To those who also are the families again and the friends, thank you. Would the graduates please give a round of applause to the families and friends who are here and online. This has been a team sport. You cannot do this alone. We cannot lead alone. We cannot learn everything that we need alone. We can do some solitary work about gathering of knowledge and information, but problem solving, solutions creation, and truly coming to different ways and approaches to the challenge in front of us every day, that is team sport. So the provost talked about your enduring relationships for our graduates. This is what we do in our military services, whether or not you're from the U.S. or from one of our international partners. This is about the team getting things done. And so this team sport notion here is really important. It's the theme I want to talk about a little bit today in these opening remarks. Because for national and global security, we're in this together. Today, we have 24 international graduating warrior scholars from 16 countries. And I want to acknowledge gratitude to you for what you have done. You've made us richer, better, smarter, more challenged, more provoked, and more aware about the fact that it takes a team to get to various kinds of solutions. Your qualifications have been high, and you've done really well, and in many cases with English as a second language. In our international students, I want to make three particular firsts. We have our first woman Pakistani officer to graduate from NPS. We also have the first woman from Trinidad and Tobago. And we have our first student ever, and this was a big surprise, our first student ever from Belgium. So that's really good too. And so this is about the international nature of knowledge, of problem solving, and of prosperity. When I began my time in the Navy, we were in the middle of the Cold War, and deterrence was a major requirement for all missions within all services. Know how to deter. After the Cold War, that notion of deterrence became a little bit more gauzy, became a little bit more not quite discernible or clear. Today, I will tell you, in the 21st century, in this era of cyber and MI and of ML and AI and of the digital world, the deterrence factor is about you, the human being behind that machine. You are about modern deterrence. And so it's interesting what we have talked about this past year of knowledge acquisition application. Here are a few of the topics that have been researched by our warrior scholars. The role of deceptive defense in cyber strategy. Analysis of fuel logistics of a maritime littoral regiment operating in Indo-PACOM. Artificial intelligence and enhanced navigation. An assessment of nighttime airborne visual anti-submarine warfare capability. That is but four of the various topics that you all have been working on. And in the end, every single one of them requires a human being doing important work. And this is the work of discernment, analytical knowledge and insight and perspective, as well as the ability to make the very best decisions possible and decision advantage. So our faculty are part of that, but you are also part of that. And we are moving ahead at Naval Postgraduate School. For those of you who will come back to us, we will have a revitalized campus in our recapitalization. We're going to be very focused and we have been on the notion of an innovative culture, an innovation culture, and with the help of our Navy and our Secretary, our CNO and our Commandant, and the Naval Postgraduate School Foundation and the donors, we're going to have a Naval Innovation Center at some point in time in our future. So innovation culture, innovation disciplines, the interdisciplinary aspects of innovation, that there's no one problem, no one discipline and no one person who can completely innovate at all levels. Innovation, it's part of the team sport. And our guest speaker today is one of the captains of an innovation culture. Gary, if you read on your programs about the biography of Mr. Gary Wipfler, he was a leader and a titan in the industry of innovation, Apple computers. So Mr. Wipfler was with Apple for 35 years, and he was the treasurer of Apple. Now, what's interesting about this is, you think about Apple today, when Gary Wipfler joined Apple 35 years ago, Apple was in a death knell. They were in the darkest time of the company. They were about ready to close down. And Gary Wipfler joined them. And he worked the money as the treasurer of Apple for all those years. And he was the vice president and corporate treasurer of Apple. And he did not join in the heyday. He left in their heyday with a legacy of extraordinary work. From the dark days of near collapse to Apple's resurgence and climb to become the most valuable company in the world, Gary was responsible for the financial systems, the company's cash in all matters of corporate finance, fueling the inner workings of Apple and the decision-making and supporting the decision-making of a number of CEOs, including Steve Jobs and Tim Cook. He was a champion in Apple for the development of Apple Pay and Apple Card. Yes, for those of you who have used Apple Pay, thank Gary. He is a graduate of the University of Washington, and in this past year, he was honored by the Foster School there. And here are some words when he was honored by his alma mater. Inspiration can come from anywhere. The teachable moments happen every day, any time of day, and often when and where you least expect them. The last 3 decades at Apple have been filled with those teachable moments. Leadership is about striving to do things the right way, and leading and teaching by example. It's about being smart, but not arrogant. It's about being honest and curious, listening and encouraging the team to take measured risks, pushing the team to continually try to evolve. So team, this is a leader who we have the extraordinary pleasure and privilege of hearing from today, and he also is dedicated to us. Mr. Gary Wipfler joined us in the Naval Postgraduate School Foundation Council of Advisors to help us be stronger and better in that walk towards innovation as a team. I introduce you to Mr. Gary Wipfler.
Thank you, President Rondeau. I think she just gave you part of another speech of mine. I promise you I don't have any of that in today's remarks. But thank you, and also thanks to the members of the NPS Foundation, members of the advisory board, distinguished guests, class of 2023, friends and families. It's an honor for me to stand here before you and share a few words and a few stories. But before I get started, let me address the elephant in the room. I'm sure many of you are wondering, did I prepare today's remarks? Or did I ask ChatGPT to do it for me? And while I'm going to be talking about embracing change in just a few moments, I felt it was better to do this one the old-fashioned way. Congratulations to you, the Naval Postgraduate School of 2023. You are trained to be leaders. In fact, you are already leaders. But your education journey is not yet finished. Today marks graduation day from NPS, which has also prepared you to be lifelong learners. What better skill and capacity can you walk away from here today, but with the capacity and the mind to keep learning, especially in times of change? As you know, I worked 35 years for one of the greatest companies ever created, one that epitomized change. And yes, unusual to work for one company for so long, but not unusual if you admire and respect the company. Not unusual if the company and the job is always changing. I think we share some common ground here, as I respect immensely, as you do too, the institution you are all graduating from. And we are in a time of massive change, And it's not all about technology anymore. Naturally, we need to include geopolitics, domestic politics, environmental, social media, language, biology, healthcare, and the list will grow. Let's call the first message today, times are changing. We need leadership. We need you. My second message is about sliding doors. Sliding doors refers to the decisions we make every day in our lives, ones that we don't recognize as profoundly impactful until years later when looking back. I have walked through countless sliding doors in my lifetime, leading to an infinite possibility of life outcomes, leading up to this very moment standing before you here today. Here's an example. I went to the University of Washington on a track and field scholarship over 40 years ago. I ran the high hurdles, and I competed in a few decathlons. I was a good high hurdler and a good decathlete, good enough that I had Olympic ambitions. Right after graduating in 1981 from the University of Washington Foster School of Business, some life events had me move back to California to be closer to my family. And in 1981, things were a little different than they are today. Ronald Reagan just became our 40th president. Interest rates, inflation, unemployment rate were all near or above 10%. And the only companies hiring at the time were defense contractors like Lockheed and Grumman, General Dynamics, and Kaiser Electronics. And Kaiser Electronics is where I landed. Kaiser was a generous company that allowed me to work full-time, continue to train as an athlete, and allowed me to go to graduate school at Santa Clara University to pursue my MBA. Kaiser's main product then was a heads-up display. If you've ever watched the original Top Gun movie from 1986, you would have seen their product in the cockpit of those F-14 Tomcats. After nearly 5 years there, rotating through finance and operations positions and completing my MBA, a former colleague and friend told me about Apple. I ran my last high hurdle race the summer of 1986, the Harry Jerome Invitational in Vancouver, British Columbia. 5 of the top 10 high hurdlers in the world were in that race, including 2 Olympic gold medalists and a silver medalist. I took 6th place. Okay, I was good, not great. And I believe that was the race now to end my track career on. Lucky I did not chase my track ambitions longer, or I might have missed the sliding door that led to Apple. It seems working full-time, training part-time, and going to grad school at night is not a great Olympic recipe. But it was a great recipe for time management, finance and business training, teamwork, and goal setting. My point in that story, and there were a lot of sliding doors in that story, my point in this story is that each and every day will present opportunities and sliding doors for you. It is only later that you will recognize the profound impact of a decision that might seem ordinary. But trust yourself, your leadership, your training, and know that extraordinary will happen for you. Time will prove me right. Another extraordinary sliding door happened in 1996, 10 years after I joined Apple. Apple was in that dark period, and not the company it is today. And I find myself in the midst of a well-chronicled, life-threatening liquidity crisis. The company was on the precipice of bankruptcy. Businessweek, Bloomberg, and others in the press were writing Apple's obituary. The fall of an American icon was the cover story for Businessweek, February 1996. It was around then that I accepted the treasurer job, and mostly because I believed there was going to be great content in crisis, and there was. But thanks to some determined financial leadership, some difficult choices, we were able to weather that storm. In 6 months, we went from near bankruptcy to buying a company called Next, which of course led to the return of Steve Jobs, to rebuild a great company in a way that only Steve could have done. It was some of the most inspiring and best learning periods of my life. The point of that story, times of difficulty and challenge will often yield the best learning and opportunities. If when things get easy, put those curious minds to work, look around the corners, seek the challenges, and you will be rewarded. And now, a Steve Jobs story. Everyone knows that Steve was a genius. Walter Isaacson's biography titled Steve Jobs is pretty accurate. Steve's genius, the depth and breadth, went well beyond the iMac, the iPod, the iPhone, and marketing. Here's an example. It's later in 1997. Steve is now our new CEO after the acquisition of Next, returning back to the company that fired him in 1985. And if you want to learn more about that, I encourage you all to read or listen to the Steve Jobs 2005 commencement address to Stanford. It's one of the top commencement addresses of all time. So you get 2 for 1. You get this one, and you can go read and listen to that one. But back to the 1997 story, and it's a reliable first-hand story. Apple spent nearly $100 million installing a new SAP ERP system, which is an enterprise resource planning tool. This planning tool out of the box should have cost $20 million, but we, Apple, spent another $80 million with SAP consultants reconfiguring and re-engineering the installation to try and conform SAP with how we used to do things. Steve hears about this, thinks we are all crazy, and he's right, and calls everyone into the boardroom that is involved with the project and simply says this: you can start all over. You can spend $20 million again to take SAP out of the box, not the other way, and not the other way around. I'm sorry. You can start all over, spend $20 million again, take SAP out of the box, but you need to change the way you do things to conform with the SAP way of doing stuff, and not the other way around. And if you cannot do that, I'll replace each and every one of you and hire a team that can do that. Clearly, you know where this is going, because that last piece was especially motivating. The team did, in fact, do that, and to this day, Apple is the world's largest company on a single instance of SAP, leveraging that one fateful meeting and challenge into decades of efficiencies. The point of that story: change is inevitable. Don't get stuck and complacent in the status quo. Always ask yourself, is there a better path forward? And now my last story, a quick one. This one was also very early in my Apple career, perhaps 30, 35 years ago. I attended a brown bag speaker lunch. The speaker was a long time ago vice president of sales. And there were maybe 30 of us there to hear his remarks. The VP put up one slide, the entire talk, big, bold font, Carpe Diem, naturally to seize the day. He then spent 45-minute lunch encouraging us all to look around the corners, seek the challenges, solve problems, get shit done. Be extraordinary, not ordinary. One slide, carpe diem. I never forgot the slide. I did forget the name of the vice president, but I never forgot his message. And if you forget my name, I hope you remember a few themes from today's talk. 1, sliding doors. Know and trust each day that extraordinary will happen for you all, and time will tell. 2, seek the challenges. You will learn more. 3, change is inevitable. Don't be stuck in the status quo. 4, stay curious. You are lifelong learners. 5, of course, carpe diem. And like all good storytelling, I will end with the beginning. As I said before, you are all leaders, capable, smart, ready for what comes next. And in times like these, where change is increasing in breadth and speed, the world needs good leaders, and the world needs you. To you, the NPS class of 2023, congratulations, carpe diem.
I would now like to invite President Rondeau, Provost Gardner, and Mr. Wipfler forward for the conferring of degrees upon our candidates. Will the candidate for the degree, Doctor of Philosophy, please stand and proceed to the platform?
President Rondeau, we have 6 students getting their doctorate today. 2 could not be here, so I wanted to give them a quick shout out so we could recognize them. And the 2 could not be here are Major Nicholas J. Hittner and Major Dominique Hittner. If people would join me in congratulating Dr. and Dr. Hittner. Thank you. Will Commander Edgar Wilfred Jatho from the Department of Computer Science, the candidate for the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Computer Science, please cross the stage. The title of Commander Jatho's dissertation is Finding and Fixing Fragility in Machine Learning. Commander Jatho's advisors are Professor Peter Denning and a co-advisor, and Professor Josh Kroll and Professor Armand Barton from the Department of Computer Science. Machine learning-enabled systems are ubiquitous, increasingly leveraged in high-consequence contexts. This dissertation provides methods to contextualize, assess, and eliminate or mitigate hazards of machine learning systems. Jatho investigates novel defenses and novel attacks that exploit the fragility of machine learning systems. As part of this, he developed a novel Bayesian machine learning defense that successfully defends against a broad spectrum of state-of-the-art adversarial attacks while maintaining high accuracy. President Rondeau, I present to you Commander Jatho. He has completed all requirements prescribed by the faculty and is recommended for the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Computer Science.
By the authority invested in me, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto pertaining.
Will Lieutenant Colonel Pedro Ortiz from the Department of Computer Science, the candidate for the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Computer Science, please cross the stage? The title of Lieutenant Colonel Ortiz's dissertation is Uncertainty Quantification and Decomposition Through Bayesian Deep Learning for Big Data Satellite Remote Sensing Problems. Lieutenant Colonel Ortiz's advisor is Professor Marco Oriscanen from the Department of Computer Science. Lieutenant Colonel Ortiz, in research sponsored by the Office of Naval Research, used probabilistic machine learning models to generate synthetic atmospheric data and to quantify the uncertainty associated with this new scientific product. These methods apply whenever deep learning is currently being applied or where it might be applied in the future. The work presented in his dissertation has the potential to positively affect command and control in both present day and future military operations. President Rondeau, I present to you Lieutenant Colonel Ortiz. He has completed all requirements prescribed by the faculty and is recommended for the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Computer Science.
By the authority vested in me, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto pertaining.
Will Lieutenant Colonel Charles Philip Rowan from the Modeling, Virtual Environment, and Simulations Institute, with the acronym MOVES, the candidate for the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Modeling, Virtual Environment, and Simulations, please cross the stage. The title of Lieutenant Colonel Rowan's dissertation is Model-Based Assessments of Adaptive Automation's Unintended Consequences. Lieutenant Colonel Rowan's advisor is Professor Lauren Shattuck from the Office of Research and Innovation. Lieutenant Colonel Rowan, in research sponsored by the U.S. Army Combat Capabilities Development Command, used a novel approach to investigate adaptive automation's unintended negative consequences. To do so, he developed human performance prediction models and conducted validation activities through 3 human-in-the-loop experiments with 120 participants. His results show that adaptive automation can help manage cognitive workload. However, these benefits can be delayed due to system state transitions that can increase workload and decrease situation awareness. His results will lead to improved design in future DoD human autonomous systems. President Rondeau, I present to you Lieutenant Colonel Rowan. He has completed all requirements prescribed by the faculty and is recommended for the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Modeling, Virtual Environment, and Simulations.
By the authority vested in me, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto pertaining.
Will Lieutenant Colonel Michael Sempt from the Department of Information Science, the candidate for the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Information Science, please cross the stage? The title of Lieutenant Colonel Semp's dissertation is Exploratory Data Analysis of Defense Cyber Deception Experimentation. Lieutenant Colonel Semp's advisor is Professor Brett Michael from the Department of Information Science. Lieutenant Colonel Seft and research sponsored by the Laboratory for Advanced Cybersecurity Research performed data analysis on computer network traffic data collected during the Tularosa study, the largest experiment of cyber deception to date. His research provided new evidence on the effectiveness of decoy-based cyber deception on impeding cyber attacker activity. He also developed novel models for cyber attacker behavior. Cyber defenders can apply findings from his research to improve cybersecurity of critical systems and networks. President Rondeau, I present to you Lieutenant Colonel Senft. He has completed all requirements prescribed by the faculty and is recommended for the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Information Science.
Provost Gardner. By the authority vested in me, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto pertaining.
Will the candidates for the degrees Master of Arts, Master of Science, and Masters of Business Administration please stand?
President Rondeau, I present to you these candidates. After consideration of their academic accomplishments, the Academic Council will recommend them for the degrees Masters of Arts, Masters of Science, or Masters of Business Administration as specified.
Upon the recommendation of the Academic Council, I will, by the authority vested in me, confer upon them the degree Master of Arts, Master of Science, and Master of Business Administration with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto pertaining.
Will the first row of candidates please proceed to the platform? Remaining candidates, please be seated. Of this quarter's 351 graduating class of students, 65 have also earned their command and staff diploma from the Joint Professional Military Education Program sponsored by the Naval War College. Graduating with the degree Master of Arts in Security Studies, Middle East, South Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, receiving the Louis D. Liskin Award for Excellence in Regional Security Studies, and recognized with distinction Major Sean Bunting, United States Marine Corps. Major Bradley Kohler, United States Marine Corps. Captain Eric Sklar, United States Marine Corps. Major Jeremy Tomeno, United States Army. Graduating with distinction and receiving the International Student Award for Excellence in Regional or Security Studies, Lieutenant Colonel Jochen Moos, German Army. Lieutenant Samuel Brown, United States Navy. Lieutenant Commander Nicholas Fritzhand, United States Navy. Recognized for an outstanding thesis, Lieutenant Colonel Oliver Engels, German Air Force. Graduating with the degree, Master of Arts in Security Studies, East Asia and Indo-Pacific, Captain Daniel Brew, United States Marine Corps. Captain Forrest Hames, United States Marine Corps. Captain Nicholas Pugh, United States Marine Corps. Major Eric Van Horn, United States Marine Corps. Captain Zachary Ward, United States Marine Corps. Captain David Yoder, United States Marine Corps. Major Jason Clark, United States Army. Captain Caitlin Pennicook, United States Army. Captain Andrew Price, United States Army. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Jones, United States Navy. Major Daniel Hahn, United States Air Force. Captain Chris Song, United States Marine Corps. Graduating with a degree, Master of Arts in Security Studies, Western Hemisphere, Major Benjamin Cole, United States Marine Corps. Recognized for an outstanding thesis, Major Irma Mosqueda, United States Marine Corps. Major Angelica Cubios Fonseca, United States Air Force. Graduating with the degree, Master of Arts in Security Studies, Europe and Eurasia, Major Matthew Gatton, United States Marine Corps. Captain Patrick Hootie, United States Marine Corps. Major Jordan Merritts, United States Marine Corps. Captain Sidney Merkins, United States Marine Corps. Captain Alexander Shivnan, United States Marine Corps. Receiving the Foreign Area Officer Associate Award for Excellence in International Affairs, Major Curtis Smith, United States Marine Corps. Major David Fenoy, United States Army. Lieutenant Colonel Nick Eichhoff, German Army. Lieutenant Christopher Baker, United States Navy. Graduating with a degree, Master of Arts in Security Studies, Homeland Security and Defense, recognized for an outstanding thesis, Lieutenant Commander William Gifford, United States Navy. Graduating with a degree, Master of Arts in Security Studies, Combating Terrorism, Policy and Strategy, Captain Aurelio Batung, Philippine Navy. Captain Glenn Dizon, Philippine Navy. Graduating with a degree, Master of Science in Electrical Engineering, Lieutenant Commander Alex Matthew Anderson, United States Navy. Graduating with distinction and recognized for an outstanding thesis, Lieutenant Evan Scott Campbell, United States Navy. Lieutenant Konstantinos Horozoglu, Hellenic Navy. Lieutenant John Michael Henderson, United States Navy. Lieutenant Brandon Keck, United States Navy. Lieutenant Fernando Maurizio Lenis, United States Navy. Graduating with a degree, Master of Science in Applied Mathematics, Lieutenant Daniel King Gillespie, United States Coast Guard. Lieutenant John Virgil Mack, United States Coast Guard. Graduating with a degree, Master of Science in Applied Cyber Operations, recognized for an outstanding thesis, Petty Officer First Class Tanya Elizabeth Patrick, United States Navy. Recognized for an outstanding thesis, Chief Petty Officer Jeremy Truitt, United States Navy. Graduating with a degree, Master of Science in Cyber Systems and Operations, Ashley Dodd Mosici, United States Navy. Ensign Zoe Marina Switzalowski, United States Navy. Lieutenant Michael Williams, United States Navy. Graduating with a degree, Master of Science in Information Technology Management, Captain Michael William Astrino, United States Marine Corps. Also receiving the degree Master of Business Administration in Logistics and Information Technology, Captain Brianna Barca, United States Marine Corps. Also receiving the degree Master of Business Administration Logistics Information Technology, Captain John Elliott, United States Marine Corps. Captain Joseph Adam Laffey, United States Marine Corps. Graduating with distinction, Major Jonathan Metcalf, United States Marine Corps. Captain Preston Lane Nelson, United States Marine Corps. Captain Nicole Peer, United States Marine Corps. Also graduating with the degree Master of Business Administration and Logistics Information Technology and receiving the Rear Admiral Hopper Information Technology Management Award, Captain Adam Pollard, United States Marine Corps. Graduating with the degree Master of Science in Information Warfare Systems Engineering, Captain John Scott Booth, United States Marine Corps. Also receiving the degree Master of Science in Information Strategy and Political Warfare and graduating with distinction, Captain Mitchell Jameson Gunter, United States Marine Corps. Captain Walter Cadesman Pope, United States Marine Corps. Captain Vincent Santini, United States Marine Corps. Recognized for an outstanding thesis, Major Matthew Samard, United States Marine Corps. Captain Catherine Lynn Smith, United States Marine Corps. Captain Dustin Soto, United States Marine Corps. Graduating with the degree Master of Science in Network Operations and Technology, receiving the Surface Navy Association's Award for Excellence in Surface Warfare Research, the Network Operations and Technology Outstanding Graduate Award, and graduating with distinction, Lieutenant Scott Michael Burbach, United States Navy. Lieutenant James Gregory Carlton, United States Navy. Lieutenant Jesus Castro, United States Navy. Lieutenant Emmanuel Dotzi, United States Navy. Lieutenant Sierra Justine Kenfield, United States Navy. Lieutenant Eric Block, United States Navy. Lieutenant Jeremy Lucas, United States Navy. Lieutenant Austin D. Kyung Prettyman, United States Navy. Lieutenant Ryan Thomas, United States Navy. Graduating with the degree Master of Science in Electrical Engineering and receiving the Fleet Cyber Command Award for Academic Achievement in Cyber Operations, Major Paul Baker, United States Army. Graduating with the degree Master of Science in Computer Science, Lieutenant Joseph Robert Coble, United States Navy. Ensign Alexander David Gore, United States Navy. Captain Eric Jimenez, United States Marine Corps. Lieutenant Seth Kyler, United States Navy. Graduating with distinction and recognized for an outstanding thesis, Lieutenant Commander Jacob Snyder, United States Navy. Recognized for an outstanding thesis, Mr. Eugene Williams, Defense Human Resources Activity, Defense Manpower Data Center. Graduating with the degree Master of Science in Modeling, Virtual Environments and Simulation, Captain Michael John Ashmore, United States Marine Corps. Recognized for an outstanding thesis, Major Edward Vincent Hickey IV, United States Marine Corps. Major Jarrett Marks, United States Marine Corps. Captain Matthew Martin, United States Marine Corps. Also graduating with the degree Master of Science in Defense Analysis, Irregular Warfare, Captain Nicholas Royer, United States Marine Corps. Graduating with distinction and recognized for an outstanding thesis, Captain Joanna Tam, United States Marine Corps. Receiving the Commander George L. Phillips Modeling, Virtual Environments and Simulation Award, Captain Jose Alfredo Vasquez Duran, Mexican Army. Graduating with the degree Master of Science in Aerospace Engineering, Ensign Taylor Adams, United States Navy. Recognized for an outstanding thesis, Ensign George Forrest Daw IV, United States Navy. Ensign Patrick Gerard Giambruno, United States Navy. Ensign James Ronald Hickman III, United States Navy. Ensign Luc Lalou Mendier, United States Navy. Recognized for an outstanding thesis, Ensign Nathaniel McDonald, United States Navy. Ensign William Griffin Murphy, United States Navy. Recognized for an outstanding thesis, Ensign Norman Jack Spector, United States Navy. Ensign James Whiting, United States Navy. Graduating with the degree Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering, Lieutenant Taylor Bowden, United States Navy. Ensign Noah Byrne, United States Navy. Ensign Alexander Earl Carter, United States Navy. Ensign Jackson DeBeck, United States Navy. Recognized for an outstanding thesis, Ensign Caitlin DeMasso, United States Navy. Graduating with distinction and receiving the Naval Sea Systems Command Award for Naval Mechanical Engineering, Lieutenant Thomas Michael Giannetto, United States Navy. Ensign Preston Gibbons, United States Navy. Ensign Nicholas Kennedy, United States Navy. Ensign Jeremy Comida, United States Navy. Ensign Nathan Matalovich, United States Navy. Ensign Nathan Mathis, United States Navy. Ensign Jennifer Taylor Wen, United States Navy. Ensign Michael O'Donnell, United States Navy. Lieutenant Mary Robertson, United States Navy. Lieutenant Margaret Rood, United States Navy. Lieutenant Lucas Tucker, United States Navy. Lieutenant Commander Nicholas Twisselman, United States Navy. Lieutenant Colin Forbroker, United States Navy. Ensign Victor Wong, United States Navy. Graduating with the degree Master of Science in Astronautical Engineering, also receiving the degree Master of Science in Space Systems Operation, with distinction and recognized for an outstanding thesis, Major Andrew DeMoss, United States Army. Ensign Catherine Lupo, United States Navy. Ensign Anna Cleo Sewell, United States Navy. Ensign Matthew Michael Tungett, United States Navy. Ensign Connor Whitlock, United States Navy. Graduating with the degree Master of Science in Applied Design for Innovation, recognized for an outstanding thesis, Lieutenant Matthias Pecoraro, United States Navy. Master Sergeant Daniel Christensen, United States Air Force. Receiving the Air Force Association Award for Outstanding U.S. Air Force Student, Chief Master Sergeant Aaron Paul Drain, United States Air Force. Graduating with the degree Master of Science in Defense Analysis, Irregular Warfare, receiving the Monterey Peninsula Council of the Navy League, Lieutenant Commander Tom Winnett, Highest Academic Achievement Award, and graduating with distinction, Lieutenant Aubrey Jakes, United States Navy. Major Cedric Cranix, Belgian Army. Also receiving the degree Master of Science in Computer Science, graduating with distinction, receiving the Admiral Grace Murray Hopper Computer Science Award, the Naval Postgraduate Outstanding Academic Achievement Award for International Student, and recognized with an outstanding thesis, Matthew Couillard, Canadian Army. Receiving the Naval Postgraduate School Outstanding Academic Achievement Award for Department of Defense student, Miss Erin Dotson, Department of State. Captain Raivard Pitke, Estonian Land Forces. Major Jinyu Louis Liao, Republic of Singapore Navy. Major Mark Hosdijk, Royal Netherlands Marine Corps. Commander Nikolai Faugstad, Royal Norwegian Navy. Lieutenant Matthias Olofsson, Swedish Navy. Lieutenant Charisse Moore, Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard. Graduating with the degree Master of Science in Information Strategy and Political Warfare, Major Trevor Davison, United States Marine Corps. Major Matthew McGowan, United States Marine Corps. Receiving the Marine Corps Association Superior Service Award for Outstanding U.S. Marine Student, Major Coban Pierce, United States Marine Corps. Mr. George Chikwadze, Georgia Ministry of Defense. Graduating with the degree Master of Science in Space Systems Operations, Major Daniel Ashmore, United States Marine Corps. Graduating with distinction and receiving the Admiral William Adger Moffett Space Systems Award, Lieutenant Colonel Robert DeBendito, United States Marine Corps. Also graduating with the degree Master of Science in Applied Physics, Captain Kristen Eisenhower, United States Marine Corps. Recognized for an outstanding thesis, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Goldschert, United States Marine Corps. Also receiving the degree Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering, graduating with distinction, receiving the Chief of Naval Research Award for Excellence in Robotics and Autonomous Systems Research, and recognized with an outstanding thesis, Captain Joseph Jude Kelly, Jr., United States Marine Corps. Receiving the Space Systems Operations Award for Academic Excellence, Major Jonathan Kohler, United States Marine Corps. Captain Monya Wokoba, United States Marine Corps. Major James Woods III, United States Marine Corps. Captain Kyle Santorelli, United States Army. Recognized for an outstanding thesis, Lieutenant Commander Catherine Schlebo, United States Navy. Lieutenant Rory Garnett, United States Navy. Lieutenant Edwin Neves, United States Navy. Graduating with the degree Master of Science in Systems Engineering, Lieutenant Grace Albertson, United States Navy. Recognized for an outstanding thesis, Ensign Jacob Michael Barbario, United States Navy. Lieutenant P. Sebastian Dowling, United States Navy. Recognized for an outstanding thesis, Lieutenant Devin Florendo, United States Navy. Lieutenant Alexander Charles Stanislav, United States Navy. Lieutenant John Walter, United States Navy. Graduating with distinction and recognized for an outstanding thesis, Captain Sergio Barmpas, Hellenic Navy, Army. Graduating with the degree Master of Science in System Engineering Analysis, Major Daniel Ferry, Brazilian Air Force. Lieutenant Zachary Aaron Wasson, United States Navy. Graduating with the degree Master of Science in System Engineering Management, graduating with distinction, Major Matthew Brooks, United States Army. Major Wilson Chu, United States Army. Major Austin Forsythe, United States Army. Major Dustin Freeman, United States Army. Major Christopher Jones, United States Army. Captain Lindsay Keel, United States Army. Captain Thomas LeBrade, United States Army. Captain Matthew Ravert, United States Army. Mr. Ryan Bauer Savino, Naval Surface Warfare Center, Dahlgren Division. Recognized for an outstanding thesis, Mr. Alan Green, Naval Surface Warfare Center, Dahlgren Division. Receiving the Meyer Award for Outstanding Student in Systems Engineering Distance Learning and recognized for an outstanding thesis, Mr. Luke John Lucas, Naval Surface Warfare Center, Dahlgren Division. Miss Christy Spalding, Naval Surface Warfare Center, Dahlgren Division. Graduating with the degree Master of Science in Applied Physics, recognized for an outstanding thesis, Ensign Andreas Xavier Castilla, United States Navy. Ensign Reed Herzog, United States Navy. Recognized for an outstanding thesis, Lieutenant Alec Schleylander, United States Navy. Lieutenant Andrew Swartz, United States Navy. Major Antonios Varvoudis, Hellenic Air Force. Graduating with the degree Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering, Ensign Derek Thompson, United States Navy. Ensign Damian Alexander Stonehill, United States Navy. Graduating with the degree Master of Science in Meteorology, Second Lieutenant Robert Jean DeMuro, United States Air Force. Second Lieutenant Marissa Claire McAfee, United States Air Force. Graduating with the degree Master of Science in Physical Oceanography, Ensign Brendan Michael Hammond, United States Navy. Ensign Brinley Harrison, United States Navy. Ensign Gabriel Donald Stevens, United States Navy. Graduating with the degree Master of Science in Meteorology and Physical Oceanography, Lieutenant Lauren Teresa Bagley, United States Navy. Lieutenant Commander Jeremy Bullard, United States Navy. Lieutenant Commander Erica Fee, United States Navy. Lieutenant Commander Stephanie Gant, United States Navy. Lieutenant Ian Genstrom, United States Navy. Lieutenant Commander Melissa John Moore, United States Navy. Receiving the Oceanographer of the Navy Award for Outstanding Academic Performance in Meteorology and Oceanography, Lieutenant Commander Kelsey Marie Rao, United States Navy. Lieutenant Commander Cynthia Faye Williamson, United States Navy. Graduating with the degree Master of Science in Applied Science, Operations Research, Ensign Jonathan David Dollahite, United States Navy. Ensign Seth William Hansen, United States Navy. Ensign Catherine Mackle, United States Navy. Recognized for an outstanding thesis, Ensign Joshua Paul Marule, United States Navy. Ensign Madeline Joyce Pask, United States Navy. Graduating with the degree Master of Science in Operations Research, Captain Kevin Benedict, United States Marine Corps. Captain Colton Byers, United States Marine Corps. Major Tyler Cotney, United States Marine Corps. Recognized for an outstanding thesis, Major Robert Donovan, United States Marine Corps. Receiving the Military Operations Research Society Stephen A. Tisdale Graduate Research Award and recognized for an outstanding thesis, Captain Ryan Helm, United States Marine Corps. Recognized for an outstanding thesis, Captain Nelson McCollum, United States Marine Corps. Captain Joshua Miller, United States Marine Corps. Captain Brent Niewoner, United States Marine Corps. Major Brandy Sablé, United States Marine Corps. Graduating with distinction, receiving the Chief of Naval Operations Award for Excellence in Operations Research, and recognized for an outstanding thesis, Captain Austin Van Dellen, United States Marine Corps. Major Sean Carr, Australian Army. Major Drew Chapman, United States Army. Major Ryan Davis, United States Army. Major Herbert Jock Heck, United States Army. Captain Hu Kyung Kyung, United States Army. Major June Kim, United States Army. Major Christopher Newcomb, United States Army. Major Benjamin Polson, German Army. Receiving the Association of the United States Army General Joseph W. Stilwell Chapter Award for Outstanding Army Student, Captain Amy Schumann, United States Army. Major Jordan Thomas, United States Army Reserve. Lieutenant Aaron Joseph Chamberlain, United States Navy. Lieutenant Commander Gabriel Rangel, Brazilian Navy. Captain Anna Hughes, United States Army. Graduating with the degree Master of Business and Administration, Acquisitions, and Contract Management, Major Eric Gunter Paul Lamb, United States Marine Corps. Sergeant First Class Gus William Wessels, United States Army. Sergeant First Class Jenny Zuniga, United States Army. Graduating with distinction and receiving the Department of Defense Management Faculty Outstanding International Student Award, Major Angelos Arbagis, Hellenic Army. Lieutenant Commander Amber Drayton, United States Navy. Receiving the Naval Supply System Command Award for Excellence in Management, Lieutenant Commander Joseph Canlon McDonald III, United States Navy. Lieutenant Commander Shane Moore, United States Navy. Lieutenant Commander Ishmael Ulagunju Tajuddin, United States Navy. Lieutenant Commander Jacob Williamson, United States Navy. Graduating with distinction and receiving the Louis D. Liskin Award for Excellence in Defense Management, Lieutenant Matthew Arnott, United States Naval Reserve. Graduating with the degree Master of Business Administration, Systems Acquisition Management, graduating with distinction and recognized for an outstanding thesis, Lieutenant Commander Hunter Marner, United States Navy. Graduating with the degree Master of Science in Management, Defense System Analysis, Captain Allison Hawkland, United States Marine Corps. Major David Pajit, United States Marine Corps. Graduating with the degree Master of Business Administration, Defense System Management, graduating with distinction, receiving the Department of Defense Management Faculty Outstanding International Student Award, and recognized for an outstanding thesis, Captain Igor Enrique G. Almeida, Brazilian Air Force. Receiving the Rear Admiral Donald R. Eaton Logistics Award for Outstanding Achievement, Lieutenant Commander Matthew Higgins, United States Navy. Graduating with the degree Master of Business Administration, Material Logistics Support Management, Lieutenant Pry Davis, United States Navy. Graduating with the degree Master of Science Defense Financial Management, recognized for an outstanding thesis, Major Rukhjana Zainab, Pakistan Army. Graduating with the degree Master of Business Administration, Financial Management, Major A. Ebony Brimhall, United States Marine Corps. Recognized for an outstanding thesis, Lieutenant Commander Mark Anthony Lagroma Buok, United States Navy. Recognized for an outstanding thesis, Lieutenant Commander Zefrino Cortes Rodriguez, United States Navy. Lieutenant Keith Hantla, United States Navy. Lieutenant Matthew Hernandez Morales, United States Navy. Lieutenant Jeffrey Alexander Picardo, United States Navy. Receiving the Department of the Navy Award for Academic Excellence in Financial Management, Lieutenant Sawyer Rogers, United States Navy. Lieutenant Brian Sexton, United States Navy. Graduating with distinction and receiving the Department of the Navy Award for Academic Excellence in Financial Management, Ensign Jacob Staples, United States Navy. Receiving the Department of the Navy Award for Academic Excellence in Financial Management, Ensign Hayden Tidwell, United States Navy. Receiving the First Command Military Leadership Award, Lieutenant William Weldon, United States Navy. Lieutenant Commander Daniel Beach, United States Naval Reserve. Lieutenant Commander Alvin Carr, United States Naval Reserve. Receiving the Department of the Navy Award for Academic Excellence in Financial Management and recognized for an outstanding thesis, Lieutenant Commander Grant Vittorio Strickland, United States Naval Reserve. Graduating with the degree, Master of Science in Management, Manpower Systems Analysis, Captain Leah Marie Pollard, United States Marine Corps. Graduating with the degree, Professional Masters of Business Administration, Major Nathan Gunter, United States Army. Graduating with the degree, Master of Science in Contract Management, recognized for an outstanding thesis, Mr. Stanley Chan, Defense Contract Management Agency. Miss Annabelle Catherine Tiller, Naval Surface Warfare Center, Panama City. Miss Luz Maria Vasquez, Defense Contract Management Agency. Mr. Brendan Anthony DeLuca, Defense Contract Management Agency. Miss Christina Joseph, Defense Contract Management Agency. Graduating with distinction, Mr. Benjamin Ryan Schmidt, Defense Contract Management Agency. Graduating with the degree, Master of Science in Program Management, Mr. Kevin Anderson, Department of Energy. Major Joshua Daly, United States Marine Corps. Graduating with the degree, Master of Science in Aerospace Engineering, Lieutenant Commander Colin Thomas Locke, United States Navy. Please join me in giving all our graduates a well-deserved round of applause.
One last round of applause for the Del Monte Brass.
Please stand for the benediction.
Receive the benediction. God of grace, God of glory, the rewarder of all who seek you, and the giver of contentment to those who trust in you, bless us now with renewed confidence and peace. Work in us and through the Naval Postgraduate School, now and until kingdom come. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's graduation ceremony. On behalf of the President, Provost, and all of us here at the Naval Postgraduate School, I would like to thank you once again for being here today. We also offer a sincere appreciation to the Naval Postgraduate School Color Guard and the Del Monte Brass. Please remain clear of the aisles until the platform party and faculty have departed. On behalf of the Naval Postgraduate School Foundation, I would like to invite graduates, faculty, and guests to a reception in honor of the graduates in the Barbara McNitt Ballroom of Herman Hall immediately following the ceremony.